Let go your love, 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 love. Let go your love, 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 love.
Hello, thank you for tuning in with me, Delta Sigma. Part of the DJ World Beats experience. You have just heard a small piece of Jack Burns bringing you his latest hit, Let Go Your Love. Check out Behind the Scenes with Jack. All the way from Nashville to Charlotte, to now, rBeatz Radio. Terry Hudson brings us the best of the best with Jack Burns. Check it out now.
Yeah, 316. Got game and pulled out his own Atari. I said sorry, I'ma have to pass like Nash to Amari. Tiger up early on a Sunday, sinking birdies while the pigskin spinning through the air, tight and birdie. It's a TD, it's a TKO, a home run, it's a hat trick. Ain't no way to be an all-star without practice. So if you down to sacrifice your life for a draft pick, it's a pretty sweet position. You can live it if you have some things in the air. If you got game, waving like you just don't care. If you got game, playing like you got no fit, and you got game. If you came in the way, you got game.
Welcome back to rBeatz Bangers. This is Terry Hudson. I am your host for Local Music Somewhere here today. I'm a former record label president. I've been an artist manager, and also now am an author, a speaker, and a music industry consultant, and of course, rBeatz host here. And what we do with Local Music Somewhere, as you know, you know the drill. You've been watching a while. Is we go around the world. We try to find the best music scenes, the people that are from those scenes, and try to find the best up-and-coming aspiring artists. And then we interview the industry veterans or the well-known artists that you know to inspire the aspiring artists. And if you're a music fan, then what we do here is we pull back the curtain so you can see how the industry works. Always interesting. We always find the greatest guests. Now, today is a returning guest, is one that I've been trying to get on since the first time when he was on the show with the Local Music Somewhere OG Jess. And his name is Jack Burns. So welcome to the show, Jack.
Thanks for having me.
Man, it's great to see you back in here. I know we've been trying to do this for a while, and when I saw you on the first show, you're so talented. You had everything going. You know, you were a multi-instrumentalist. You were working on great performances, and you were, really adept at writing to be so young and doing it. And
thank you.
You had the greatest influences, and you have that, that pop idol look, which doesn't hurt at all, right? I know you don't care either way about that, but it helps when the guys are trying to market your music. But a lot of people that have that don't have the serious musicianship that you have, and it's a whole different game. So I'm really happy to have you on the show.
Well, thank you so much.
Let's get into this. So before we even go to, because I think it was maybe a year and a half or 2 years ago that you were on the show?
Yeah, it was about 2 years ago. Yeah.
So I know a lot has happened since then.
Oh, definitely.
I mean, look around. You see everything in here.
It looks
we've
great
changed
in here.
Quite a bit. So we got the branding going and get a lot more viewers, on the show now, which is really cool. But with you, I follow your Instagram, and there's been it feels like 6,000 things, that have happened with you since that time. You're playing a lot.
Oh,
You've
yeah.
been at a lot of cool events, so we'll get into that. One of the things that I like to do for the people that are watching is, they like the backstories, how the artist started, because a lot of them are just starting out themselves. So how did you even get interested in music?
Well, I remember being like about 7 years old, and my mother had one of these things in the car. It was like because we didn't have the iPod. The iPod was like brand new. We didn't have that yet. It was like the car charger thing with the SD card in it. You could put all your music in, but you had to hook up to a radio station that was like made up, so you had signal, and then you hooked it up through there. And so she had this SD card of songs, and one of them was Fats Domino, Blueberry Hill. And I remember hearing that song and kind of having this thought, not super conscious, but being like, I think this is what I want to do. Like something, I'm feeling this on a different level, and it feels right,
So it was always kind of an R&B influence too?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. R&B and rock too. Yeah.
Well, who would be your influences once you got into it? Like, who are some of the people that you would watch on TV or listen to on the radio and you would think?
Well, definitely, like the Beatles were probably the first that I was like really, really into. And then later on, I really got into the depth of Prince's work and just the way that he approached all the instruments and stuff and the production and everything. It just fascinated me so much.
Yeah, because he was like the one-man, shop.
Yeah, it was amazing, yeah.
Yeah, and, and picking the Beatles, too, because they seemed like somebody that would start off what we have today, like boy bands, but then they got really interested in what they were doing, and they pulled from so many references.
Oh, yeah.
They would go over to another country, like India, and they would pull some sounds that they would hear over there and incorporate them into the music, and it just, it gave it a different feel. Those are great influences to start off with, because a lot of times you'll hear the typical names. Of course, Prince comes up, but that's a lot of times because of the the hits and the sound, not the depth, of what he did and how he changed the industry. He was one of the first people that put his music on the internet, just because a record deal back then, you got a certain percentage and of what they sold. Obviously, when he went on the internet and what there were CDs back then, I think it was like you paid $1.99 or 99 cents per CD when you're manufacturing at that level. So when he's selling, he could sell 200,000 units online and make as much just about as he was getting from the label, when he had an actual record deal and it was going straight through the distributors and all that. So
wow.
Yeah. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was one of the first people that did that. And he really understood contracts. He was an artist advocate when it came to the contracts, if you watch a lot of his interviews with that. So just looking at an artist like that and looking for more than just, some hit songs that he had, but the fact that he did record and he was a multi-instrumentalist, I think that says a lot about you. So what instruments do you play?
I play guitar, bass, drums, keys, synths, that sort of thing, mainly, yeah.
And that's, are there like 2 or 3 that are your mainstays when you're writing?
I'd say like guitar and probably keys.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when it comes to, and we're going to get into this with your projects because I've listened to pretty much, everything you've done, and I hear what I feel are certain influences, and I'd be interested of, kind of your takes and where you got on that. But
yeah.
Where we want to go first is, we said you came on here as less than a couple years ago, but it's been a while. Let's go over everything that has happened in that time. Let me ask you this. You said that, at least that's what I've heard that you've said, that 2025 has been a turning point.
For sure.
And so what changed that was different than you were doing before?
Well, in the beginning of last year, I ended up moving to Nashville temporarily because I just wanted to kind of figure that out and just kind of get myself into more of a music city and just like see, hey, what's going on here. And I found it to be a great experience. I don't regret it at all. But after that happened, I ended up meeting this manager. He was out of LA. And he was like, I can get you stuff kind of more in Charlotte, like where you're from. And I'm like, okay, well, this obviously feels more right, because out there, I didn't really have the connections that I do at home, So I'm like, okay, well, maybe I should just take the faith and just kind of go this way. And since then, I mean, I got to play at the Evening Muse. I got to be in the Novant Health Parade.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the parade. That's cool.
And so some great things happened there. And unfortunately, that man has he passed away 3 months ago. And fortunately, though, I was in LA for an event, the HIMAs.
Mm-hmm. That's another thing I have on the list. Yeah.
Okay.
That's
yeah.
pretty cool. Yeah.
And,
I looked you up. You think I don't know anything?
Yeah, you've done research. So I was out of the event, and he wanted me to meet this guy, and his name is Luke Danelon, and he ended up, really helping me recently with, just more shows and just, kind of a management thing, really. Mm-hmm. And it's been amazing since then. And I've had more go on in Charlotte than I ever did in Nashville. Well, because of that.
Here's the thing. It's definitely, part of that help you're talking about.
Yeah.
Here's what's going on. And one of the things, I have friends in the music industry at all the different cities, and what I keep telling them about Charlotte, and they've noticed, there's not the red tape here that there is in some place, like a Nashville, and not the overcrowding. There's a manager on every block.
Right, yeah. And you got to be careful with that.
Oh, you do.
I mean, you got to be super careful.
Yeah, because a bad management deal, the right management deal, of course, can change your career, but a bad management deal can just bury you, in a place you don't want to be. Now, what's going on with Charlotte is, for some reason, all the players are coming together at the same time, it feels, to make this more of a base. I saw it first with, John Tosco. He was going from, I think, living rooms to doing these bigger shows where they're called Tosco Music Parties now, and he does them at theaters. You had Center City Partners that started getting an idea that they wanted more of a music presence in the city, so they created something called Music Everywhere. And that culminated with Confluence, which is their music conference here, and they're bringing in a lot of the major players that are out there in the music industry into Charlotte to see what's going on. I'm surprised at how many Charlotte artists have still not known about this yet, because we'll have people that come in from other cities and other states that come just for this conference.
Yeah.
And I think they're on their third. There was the third one this year where they actually brought in the president of the Grammys and the former president of Berkeley University to come to this, and great networking thing, and also allowed the tech people. So you have that going on. We have a lot of new venues popping up.
Yeah.
And then of course, rBeatz, has now made this their home, and we've grown at the same time they've grown. And the rise of studios, in town has been another thing. So there are those type of things, but the music community that used to operate in silos has all of a sudden discovered each other.
Yeah.
And so the pop people are helping the R&B people, and the country people, are helping, let's say, the blues people, and they're playing some shows together, and it's caused more of a community. So there are a lot of things going on like that make it a better city for you to be acclimated in and make your base, before you're building your places around the country.
Yeah,
that you're doing
definitely.
and building great contacts in, which you'll do that because what you do is real. And we'll talk about this. You describe your, because this will lead into it, you describe your music as blue-eyed soul and alternative pop.
Yeah.
And kind of what does that mean to you, and why does it matter to you?
It's just to me, it's like a hybrid of like the R&B and the funk roots that I love. And I do like going a little bit harder. I like going into the rock thing. And so I feel like alternative pop is a good label for that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, the thing that you were hearing a lot of stuff with just loops. It was a lot of the same stuff on radio.
Yeah.
And I felt you were coming around at the right time. Now you're seeing it. You're seeing it with like Ray and Olivia Reed and what is his name? Is it Leon Thomas? You know what I'm talking about? The song. Yeah. You're getting more of that feel now that's been missing like for a long, long time. Of course, Bruno Mars has kind of, kept that running. But he's kind of been an anomaly compared to everything else that's out there. And now you're seeing a lot of it that's doing really well. And to me, you fit that, and especially in a day and age that, because it's less dependent on the gatekeepers, it seems you can try different styles and put more stuff out there than you used to be able to do.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. And I mean, everybody's got access to, if you got a laptop, well, you can get GarageBand on it. You don't even need a laptop. You could do it on your phone. I mean, we've seen that with Steve Lacy, I think. Yeah, Steve Lacy. He does a lot of that stuff on his iPhone, and he'll just write something out. It's like the access to do it is just amazing now.
And like with your social media, the things that you're doing, you have the studio stuff that you'll film, and you have, of course, your live stuff, and you make it pretty interesting. What is your social media philosophy right now with what you're putting out? You're primarily Instagram, aren't you? Is that?
Yeah, primarily Instagram. I guess like with social media, I like to show myself as, like a pop artist, but I can play guitar, Yeah,
you're
I
a
can
real
play
musician,
stuff.
right.
And, I think the live videos kind of showcase like what it's really about, more.
Yeah, and even like when you're in the studio, you'll have some where you're just, as they say, noodling on the guitar. But, it's very interesting. I see that with, like a Neil Sean, or we had, recently we had the lead vocalist for Santana, and we were talking about that same thing. These
cool.
guys it's like a spirituality, they're just playing now. And that's the kind of thing I see you doing, I guess, because you've been playing quite a while. How long have you been playing guitar?
I've been playing guitar since I was 8.
No, that's quite a while.
Yeah.
So let's go back into what's going on now. Let's cover the parade, because that was pretty interesting. I've had artists in that when I used to manage, and it's a different thing. Like, for the people that don't know, the Charlotte Parade is one of the biggest parades in the Southeast. It's like that.
Oh, yeah. I heard it was the 4th largest in the U.S.
It could be. I mean, it's
that was the number
sizable.
I heard. Yeah, pretty amazing.
Did you, did they do the press event prior? Did you do that in the warehouse? I know that was something they used to do, where all the floats were in a warehouse, and they would have the press show up, and they would meet the artists. I don't know if they still do that. That was
we were outside when I got on the float.
Got you.
Yeah.
Still meeting at the convention center? Is that how that works?
Yeah. We met at the convention center. Yep.
So what was that experience like?
Oh, it was so cool. I got to meet like tons of cool artists and stuff like that. And I got, TV and radio interviews because of the parade. And that alone was like awesome, And so, yeah, it was a really cool experience. And I mean, just seeing all the people when you're on that float and you're just waving at everybody, it's the funnest time ever.
Yeah, because it's like thousands of people that you're going through. And you have the place where you stop for TV.
Yeah,
And you film there too, and they have great coverage.
Yeah, that was really cool too.
Yeah, and is that what led to you being on WCCB?
Yes.
Yeah, because they have a great setup for performances. I've seen a few artists on there. That's
oh yeah, it was great. Yeah,
something pretty new to Charlotte. Since there used to be a place where, like the Today Show, one of the networks here, they would have this thing outside of one of the tall buildings downtown. It was kind of like the Today Show, so it's pretty cool for Charlotte. COVID basically killed that, and you hadn't had anything for quite a while, and I've just seen that coming back this year, so that was cool to see that you got on that.
Yeah.
And, of course, you did WBT as well, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
So was that your first experience in the actual radio station itself?
Yes, it was. Yeah, that was the first time I was actually on anything like that.
So tell me about the experience. You're new at this. And I mean, you're not new at being a musician, but you're new at a lot of this media coverage, and you're starting to get it now. I'm pretty interested in how you feel about it and how that's shaping you.
It was great, and the way it worked out was really handy, because it was like the TV interview was the first morning, and then the day of the parade was that radio interview. So I was like already, on camera, did the performance. So then radio seems a little bit easier now,
Yeah.
I don't have to like show my face or anything. And boy, it was funny though. I'll tell you what, when we got there, I took an Uber over there, and when I got dropped off, I was on the wrong side of the building. And so I'm looking at the time, I'm like, okay, we got about 5 minutes, and I got to look at this map to see like how to get in the entrance and see if anybody will even let me in. Like, who is this guy? What are you doing?
Right.
You know what I mean? And so me and my girlfriend, we're just like running up this hill, like trying to figure out where the entrance is to this place. And they let us in, and they were super nice and stuff. But it was, a crazy experience. But then once we got in, I mean, it was so fun.
Yeah. Well, like I said, this is a new thing for you. I believe you're going to be doing a lot of this. Again, because you bring the quality musicianship with it. You're a musical family, right?
Yes,
like I saw
do.
when you were interviewing with Jess that your whole family's involved. Are any of them still doing it, or they just do it a lot at home, and does everybody play?
I mean, everybody plays. My parents mainly just do that stuff at home, and we're, just hanging out and, jamming together, which is really fun. And my sister sings. She's an excellent singer. She's also a music teacher at Nebulux in Spencer.
That's very cool. One of the things that we always talk about on the show is the encouragement when you're growing up, because when you have that support system, the art isn't killed early, and so it's easier for you to jump off higher cliffs, and take the chances. And you seem to have a good support system. That's why I was asking that.
Oh yeah, definitely. And then I've got my uncle who lives 2 doors down. He's an audio engineer, so I get to know about all this equipment and be around all this equipment and kind of learn what how things go, and so that alone is was a big boost growing up.
Yeah, because when you came in the studio, you're talking about different mics and pretty interested in what's going on. And that's again the guys you talk about like Prince. That he was in the studio every day. And he knew everything about it. And how old are you now? If you don't
I'm
mind?
26.
Okay, so early age to be writing and playing the kind of stuff you're playing. Think about in 10 years if you're at this level now. The kind of things that you could be bringing. What are some of the goals that you would have right now that you would see yourself, let's say, doing in 5 years?
Well, I definitely, I'd like to see myself playing at some bigger venues. And I've got some really exciting news that I can't say anything on yet. But if you follow my account, tune in Wednesday.
Okay.
I'll tell you what's going on.
And tell them what your accounts are. We're going to cover it at the end of the show, too, but I won't go ahead and tell them now.
It's Jack Bernsy, JackBurnzy on my Instagram and TikTok. I think the YouTube as well. I think it goes by the username.
And with your hometown crowd here, you've been here a while, you've been playing, but you actually chose to make your debut at your big hometown debut, which was pretty flashy, they say, at the Evening Muse. Why did you wait so long to do that in your own market?
I had to have the connection to get in there, I mean, it was basically that. And once I got it and I was out of Nashville, I was like, this is exactly what I wanted because, I've been going up that open mic for years, and so that was just incredible. And
the other thing about that is having that, you have a following because you've been doing it a while, but to have an engaged following that you're going to be able to fill up a building that you go to, or at least draw a respectful crowd. That a promoter is going to look at and say, "Oh, well, this guy did this. Mm-hmm. We can use him at another venue." Right. Yeah. Yeah. And did you get footage of that?
Of the Evening Muse?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Good. Are you is it already on YouTube? Because I haven't seen this yet.
I've got some of the songs on there. I've got some more I'm going to put on there, but I think there's 3 videos on there, 3 or 4, 5.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And it can be repurposed content for bonus footage and, those kind of things for products that you're doing.
Oh, yeah.
When we come back, first of all, when we come back, you're going to be performing, which is really cool. And we usually do that at the end of the show, but I think it's going to be great that we're going to have you come in after the break, so stay tuned for that. But after that, we'll get into the industry thing. And I want to talk about your LA trip, as well.
Yes.
When you went out there, because that's pretty cool.
Absolutely.
And also, we'll talk about your projects and your new songs that are out and plans for this coming year, because I believe it's going to be a great year for you. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick break. We hear from our sponsors and things that are going on at rBeatz. When we come back, you're going to be right here on camera. He's going to be performing his latest song. So stay tuned. We'll be right back after this.
Hi there, welcome to The Watch List, presented by DJ WorldBeatz, hosted by me, Greasy Keys, in the rBeatz VIP suite, where we're bringing you the best of the best in live shows, streaming trends, indie pop, and much more. You can stream now on the all-new ROQ radio on rBeatz.com, where we're highlighting indie artists from all over the world, focusing now on hashtag local music somewhere and hashtag Charlotte. This month, we have artists that have earned cross-pollination into more than one stream, and we are proud to announce all the streams that our favorite artists have dropped on. Check it out right here on the rBeatz Radio, Global Boutique Streaming and Media Network. Now, let's celebrate these incredible artists, kicking it off with Fall Lift and their song, All Salt. The incredible Paper Pills with their jam, Shampoo. John Mark McMillan with his song, Ancient Love. Uwadi with I Wonder What We're Made of. Sue Song with their jam, Broken French. Search Party with Trembling Hand. Teleportation with Gold Under the Sun. Chris Tapp of the Cold Stairs with Standing Against the Wind. Tyler Bryant with his jam, Mama Like to Rock. Noga Erez from Penny Lane with this song, Against the Machine. And Sampo the Great with Can't Hold Us. This has been Greasy Keys in the rBeatz VIP Suite. Be sure to check out all of these amazing artists and be on the lookout for the next edition of The Watch List presented by rBeatz.com. Peace.
we're back, and welcome back to the show. We got a live performance here. Ladies and gentlemen, Jack Burns with Let Go Your Love.
Thank you.
Hey, what you doing? I was looking at the flowers. Still I can't seem to find the color that fuels my imagination's power. You were standing in the corner, looking like a little mystery. I won't make you feel like a foreigner. I turn a mystery to real life fantasy. Let go your love, let go your love, 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 love. Let go your love, 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 love. Let go your love, 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 love. I didn't mean to come across so forward. I don't expect to swing out of the park, but baby, I can handle all the bases. We can take the dog out after dark. Let go your love, 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 love. 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 Let go your love, 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 love.
Wow. I mean, that's true talent, my brother.
Thank you.
And you know, you're just this throwback to when guys really, I mean, there are a lot of artists that take it serious now, but a lot of what you hear on mainstream media is written by a lot of the same songwriters, and they are just putting it out with certain artists and guys like you that are not just multi-instrumentalist, you're deep instrumentalist, and you're deep in your lyrics, and just you give a great performance. I want to, before we even go into the other stuff, this is a big important part, especially since you told me one of your influences is Prince, of course, and even the Beatles. Is those are guys that are known for live performance, and the people that spend their time on live performance are the people that have long careers. You know, we know most artists have a shelf life of what, even when they're out there and they're doing well, it's like about 5 years.
Yeah.
You know, tops. And
seems like it.
Other than some reunion tour, you kind of
right.
But then you have guys like U2 or even Prince, if he was still alive. They don't even have to put out albums anymore. They could or projects anymore. They could still tour and pack an arena with no problem. And it's because of that live performance. What have you learned about that, and how do you build your live show?
I guess you can practice so much. You can practice so much on something, and you still should. And like you were saying earlier, with like Prince working for hours, with his band, and then they go live, and they just improvise it anyways. Right. And it's kind of like that. It's just like once you get to a point and you feel so comfortable with a song, you almost get bored playing it the same way every single time. And, that's when you kind of like, I kind of want to do this little trick or this little Easter egg and just kind of spice it up a little bit. And that's what's fun about live to me. Yeah.
And I think that it used to be that artists had a fear of trying something in front of an audience.
Yeah.
And it was why every date looked the same. If you're a fan of an artist, you go to 2 to 3 cities to see the artist and you're seeing the same show. Mm-hmm. That's obviously, not much. You go see somebody like John Mayer, who it seems like he changes his set just about each new city he goes into.
Yeah, and his solo is going to be different every single night.
Right, and there's so much greatness to that. And with, the live performance thing, we had Tom Jackson on the show. I don't know if you know Tom. And Tom is the guy that he trained Taylor Swift, you know, on her live performances, and Shawn Mendes and people like that in country music.
Wow.
And he shows how and I've known this guy for years, and I've watched him work with so many artists, but you don't just do it as a set list. You do it as moments. You know, you might have 15 songs, but you're creating 7 moments within this, and understanding the audience. It helps you know how the speeds of the songs work, how the in-between song pattern, you know, what you're saying works, zoning the audience that's in front of you, and how you're going to reach, you know, every person within it, even down to the microphone psychology, you know, that you're using. So when you go see these major artists that really know how to perform, they do know if they're coming down a staircase at a certain time or the light is going to hit them at a certain time, but they have moments that's going to be their complete freedom, you know, to do whatever they need to do musically in that song. They may take one song that's a hit and turn it into a 14-minute, you know, musical moment by about their 4th or 5th song, and it, you know, brings the artist in. And it's understanding moments as opposed to a set list. It does change, you know, a lot what you're doing when it comes to live performance. Before we get into some other things, let's talk about this LA trip, because it's a whole different world, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, in fact, we got the Grammys coming up in a couple weeks from this interview, and that's, you know, the spotlight is on LA again. What was that experience like for you heading out to LA?
Oh, it was amazing. I mean, the HIMAs was in this building. It's called the Avalon Theater.
And let's say first what the HIMAs are.
The Hollywood Independent Music Awards. And I was nominated for an R&B track, and so I flew out, and the event was at this building called the Avalon Theater, and it's right across from the Capitol building. You know, it's that iconic. So I mean, that alone was beautiful. And then we went inside this Avalon Theater, and it was just fabulous. And the artists that were there, I remember this one opening up. His name was Stefano, and it was just like his voice just. It was like, wow, this is an amazing production. And so that was so neat, you know, and all the connections that I was able to meet out there. I mean, it was, you know, an amazing experience.
Yeah, and you know, with the movie industry and the music industry, you used to have to live in one of these places. You had to be in an LA, or you had to be in a Nashville, or
New York, or
Seattle,
whatever.
or New York, whatever. Now it's obviously not like that. It's not even like that in film. And with that, you know, the technology has made the world kind of a lot smaller. And you're able to have access to these people. It's like with me, I used to have to go to Nashville. It seemed like minimum of once a month. A lot of times it was, you know, 2 times a month, or drive all the way down to Orlando or wherever it was. Where now, you know, on your phone, you just FaceTime or
and see what's going on there.
Or Zoom
send your stem
else.
tracks over there. I mean, you got to think too. COVID happened. All these studios shut down. Everybody just worked at home, and they still could. Everybody could get it done still.
You know, one of my favorite things about COVID, I have to say, from the music industry, is when I had seen the QR codes in magazines promoting film, but nobody had really used them in music. So I put it on an album, put it on the album cover, and was putting it on posters so people could scan for the videos, but nobody knew how to use the technology yet. So although it was a great concept, and, you know, you could hear the music by scanning the poster, or even scanning the project and getting a sample or whatever, or seeing a video, nobody was really utilizing it.
How do I do it? Right.
Yeah, it changes a lot when you have to use a QR code to order in a restaurant, or, you know.
Oh, yeah, because now the menus, that's all you get. You know?
It changed it and opened up so many, you know, ways to promote, you know, what you're doing now.
Yeah.
And, of course, that led to the ways that you pay now, of course, with, you know, Venmo and Zelle and everything else that came with that. So it just
everything's
opened
digital.
the market, like crazy. When it comes to your music, one of the things is you're called a Tunesmith, and how is that different? I know I feel it is, but how is that different from a songwriter? And you know, how does it describe what you do?
Well, I think it's just you know, like when I go and write songs, it's like, you know, okay, well let's chisel this down. Okay, like I got this little chicken scratch idea. Okay, now let's kind of streamline this a little bit better. Okay, we're getting there. Okay, that's it. Now let's see what we can, you know, produce with it, and let's see what kind of production style it needs and stuff like that. And so I feel like that's kind of where that term comes from.
Where do you get your inspiration for that? Because I know everybody's a little different. Some people have 12 different ways that they get songs that come to them, but what's yours?
I mean, I don't have a true way. There's no real formula, I guess. It's just like, it could be 4 a.m. and you can't sleep, and then you got to get your phone out, or you got to get something out and just like get it down, or, I'm driving somewhere. I mean, you can't really predict it. It's unpredictable, but what you can do is just always set yourself up for the access to write something down or record this, or just, be around a guitar a lot or any instrument, and just kind of set yourself up to be in that creative space.
Well, I'm fascinated when it comes to songwriting with guys like you that don't really have the shortcuts. Like, they know the instruments, they know the scales, they have the tools to do this, and they write in so many different ways. Like with U2, they write rhythm section first, which to me, that's one of the craziest things I've heard. I don't even know how that would work, but that's how they write first, and then they build everything around it.
Yeah.
Do you find that you do that differently? I mean, are you keyboard first, or you guitar, or it just varies?
I mean, if I have, so I'll have to like write a song out on, something with a musical tone, like, a guitar or a piano, and once I get the notes out and that kind of structure, I'm like, okay, I think this is how it's going to go. A lot of times I go to either a drum machine, or I just go to the drum kit. And if I kind of know how the song feels and I know where I want those fills to be, well, now I have my template for the song, because, I can hear, okay, this part, this is the bridge. Okay. And then usually I go to bass, and then I can kind of, okay, follow that. There's my rhythm section. Yeah. So actually, I do use the rhythm section technique a lot.
And that I was amazed at just what a drum beat can change in a song. We were producing, it was for a record company, a song that it just was sounding so mediocre, and all they did was change the drum to more of a shuffle. And after they did that, it became a single, a project, and did really well, all because of a change in drum beat. And somebody knows that, all of a sudden you're able to elevate, the song that you have and what you're doing. So let's talk about your projects and just the stuff that, I know and what I've been listening to. After the first show, I had Jen stuck in my head for like a while. Yeah. And with that project, what's that called? November 19?
Nowhere 19.
Nowhere.
Yeah.
Okay. I was trying to remember the name of the project, but I remember that being one of the songs on it. Yeah. Is that one that you singled?
Yes. Okay. Yes, that was actually my first single ever.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It was very catchy.
Thank you.
Who would be maybe your primary influences on that particular one?
I would definitely put Prince up there. Well, I mean,
it's
got the
Jack
funk
Burns.
Guitar. Yeah. It's got the Nile Rodgers funk guitar thing going on, because I was really into him. So, I was kind of adding that stuff in there, and a mix of that, and, some alternative pop stuff that I hear, nowadays. Yeah,
because something cool about it is it had something that was now, but still that was familiar.
Yeah. And I love using, classic sounds in my records.
Yeah, that's very cool. Marigold.
Yeah.
I hear, to me, when you were talking about Beatles earlier, I did hear some Beatles, and I heard kind of a Beatles mix with Lenny Kravitz. Kind of influence.
Cool, okay.
That's what that reminded me of. What were you thinking, and what were you trying to do when you wrote that one?
I was working at a little flower shop when I wrote that, and I was a senior in high school, and I don't know, I just wanted something that just felt like simple, straight to the point, and almost on, I think it's cool when the song starts out as a country song, because a lot of songs are just country songs in a way, and you put distortion on the guitar or whatever, then it kind of changes, but a lot of songs are country songs, I
don't know if I've ever had anybody say that on the show. That's pretty cool. Interesting.
I mean, it's, like you hear Purple Rain or something like that. It's kind of a country song. If you just take that production out of it and you just take the lyrics and the way it was played, it's a country song. And so I like to have that perspective sometimes when writing.
Have you heard that before, or is that just your perception? Because it's a really cool perception that I've not heard. I've
actually heard Kanye West say it.
Oh, okay.
Surprisingly, yeah.
Well, it's a pretty deep person too. Sunshine was another one from that. With that one, we've got a peanut gallery in the corner here that she's right to laugh. But yeah, he actually was able to bring his girlfriend in the studio today, which was really cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And again, great supportive system. With Sunshine, to me, when I hear that, I hear a groove that's remixed about 5. It could be remixed about 5 ways. I could even hear that one as a hip hop hook.
Yeah, it is kind of. It is more that hip hop thing. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's like somebody could just take the chorus from that and do something with it. And when I was listening to it, I could hear it mixed. Like I said, about 5 different ways that you could do things with that song. It was great as it was, but it was one of those songs that has a life and legs in other ways than just even this on the project there. So that was good writing.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So the newer ones that I saw, obviously, there was one, Drowning My Sorrows, very, very cool groove, R&B, pop-ish, like we were talking about. I like that a lot. And, of course, the one we just heard, Let Go Your Love, that's a great guitar riff. I've only heard even that sound of guitar on one other thing, I think ever. It was on a U2 song on one of their latest albums. It's not the same beat or anything. It's just that tone or sound.
Yeah, okay.
I can't remember what song it was. But I was like, oh, I liked it then, when I heard that. And then you do it totally different way, totally different style, but it's still, that same thing that I liked before. How did you come up with the sound?
That song was kind of a crazy thing because I had just, around that time, I had figured out the parade was going on, but the original manager that passed away.
Mm-hmm. Did you want to say his name, by the way? Or?
Jeff Sheen was his name.
Oh, yeah.
Jeff Sheen. You probably know him. Yeah.
Yeah, he used to live here in Charlotte. I had no idea he passed away.
Yeah, he did like October.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, great guy I met him like 3 days when I went out in LA, and I mean, amazing guy.
When I first moved
stories.
here, he had started really the first award show here in Charlotte, I think that they had.
Yeah.
That was a real award show.
Yeah, he was an amazing person. So I was so lucky just to even meet him. But he had set up that parade thing for me, right? And then he passes away. I'm not even sure if this thing is going on now because I'm like, I don't know, like, hey, is this, finally I get contact and it's like, okay, this is going on, and then it was like, my manager then was like, well, you got to have a song to perform on the float. And you got about a week to do it.
Oh, well, I had no idea of that.
And so I'm like, I'm just kind of scrambling around, you know what I mean? And then I had this little idea. I had my Lindrum out and I was just playing beats. And then I ended up writing that little riff and, kind of like a little bit of a Led Zeppelin-y thing to me. And I was like, okay, this is cool. If I just
still funk to it.
But there's a little bit of funk there, it's still rhythmic and dancey. And I was like, great. Okay, I got something, let's just spit it out, you know what I mean, and get this done. And that's how it kind of came along. And one of my favorites.
Yeah, it was a great one to kick off with. Now, on that, do you ever do co-writes with other people? Is that something that you've gotten into yet?
I've done some. I've actually done some with my my girlfriend, and we've done. We were in a band together called Red Moon Revival, and more of a Southern rock thing. So she was writing lyrics and I was writing more of these rock guitar riffs and kind of using that field of mine. And so that's probably where Let Go Your Love came out, is just being more in that rock world sometimes over the R&B thing. Yeah.
Well, with the way things are now and getting your songs out, obviously you have the streaming platforms. You also, are you familiar with Superfan platforms yet? I know we talked a little bit off air, but I don't know how familiar you are with that. So, you had the normal ways that people are using to, market to their audience, even their web design companies that they're using now. A lot of people aren't even using a web designer anymore. They're, doing it themselves with one of these companies, especially musicians.
Yeah.
And a lot of times those come with email list, so you have a source to build your email list, which I'm a big proponent of for all artists. Because what happens with social media is that once you start to get some kind of foothold, they seem to strangle you in the algorithm. You're rising, you're doing well, and then when you start doing well, then they got to find ways to monetize what you're doing, right? So then there's paid ads and all that to get you further through.
Sure.
But as you're rising, if you get those people back to where you have their email address, their data, that's like being able to ring their doorbell and being able to talk to them.
Hey, I got this song out. I got this going on.
Yeah, so when you have their email list, that's why I'm a big proponent of that.
Yeah.
But superfan platforms take that different. The ones that I know, they start off as kind of the pre-launch of what you're doing, even before you go to streaming. So you get your song out, you go to a superfan platform. I think you go to your distributor first, then you go to them, and they work it out with the distributor to where your streaming and your merch coincide to where you get paid more for your streaming. And it's a newer thing that's happening, but the way that they're gearing the technology and where things are going to go, which I've heard several things, like everything's going to glasses, eventually, or that there'll be, I think it's Elon Musk that says you won't even have apps. You'll just, you'll just go to the content on your phone. And
crazy.
So the way, and of course, spatial audio, are you familiar with that yet?
I'm not. No.
Dude, I love that. They still got some kinks, to do to get it to where it'll, I think it's a binary process where they got to get it into the headphones correctly, and not everybody even hears through their headphones the same way. So, you have technology that has to work through that. But spatial audio is when you'll hear the keyboard come over your head or the drums, come around your head this way like you do in a movie theater.
Oh, wow.
They have them all over the country. We have one in town at a place called GAT 3. Glenn Tabor's a great guy.
Oh, GAT 3?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he has a room for that. And
cool.
he'll play us the projects, and it's just mind-blowing. And, that technology is more expensive than just a regular recording right now. And originally, Apple and companies like that were saying in order to get on, their playlist, you had to have, spatial audio. They were really focusing on that. And I've heard it's not as important yet. But once that binary process that we're talking about happens, it's something I'm still studying, so I'm not as versed as, other people would be in that. Like our tech guys, probably like Johnny back here, behind the board, he probably knows everything about it. But once they get that done and they get the glasses to the place where it's not as irritating to people, because the evolution of what's happening.
Okay, yeah.
You'll be able to put on these glasses. Things will come to your head or through your head, and it's going to make your listening experience, much different. And AI, and where you can go with video now to going along with the songs. So you have all this engagement. Now with a superfan platform, what you're trying to do, and there's work to it at first, but what you're trying to do is get these fans so engaged that they're coming to you and they're spending the money with you for your merch. And when it combines with your streaming, all of a sudden you have to have less streams to make money.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah.
So I'm going to be doing a show on this coming up soon, and I have one of the tech companies that have probably the top superfan app right now, and I'm going to have him on, and we're going to discuss that more. But that's definitely a direction.
I'd love to see that. Yeah,
I've been very interested in with where they're going.
Cool.
And superfan's the buzzword. It's just like a thing people are throwing around, but there are certain companies that are going to stay ahead with that because they're really focusing on the engagement with the fans.
Yeah.
And so with that, are you currently doing an email list?
Yes, I am.
Okay,
yeah.
Very cool. And so people can come to your Instagram, they can be involved with you there, and they can send their email address, and they can get on your list through
totally,
that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, very cool. Let's talk about what's next for you. We're in 2026 here. So do you have things planned, or what would your goals even be?
I'm looking to do an album release in early March, roughly.
Okay, so pretty soon.
Yep, pretty soon. And along with that, I've got a great surprise, like I said. Check out the socials. I'll be updating it. So,
okay,
Wednesday.
And let's talk about where they can find you again. We said it earlier, but I want this to hit home with them because I believe what you're doing is important. I believe you are going to be one of the artists. I've told people this for a while. There's certain artists in Charlotte, I can name about 10 of them, that I say if they just learn these things, they will be the breakout artist in the industry that come from this town, and you're definitely one of those. So with that, I want to make sure people know about your social.
JackBurnzy, Jack Bernsy, and that's YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram.
Very cool. And have you worked to maybe get the attention of any tours, even for regional things, for like local opening spots for the bands that are coming through?
That's coming up next.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. Okay. That was kind of a hint I didn't expect for you to throw. But anyway, so in social media, with what you know now, what are your choices? What are your best choices as far as getting your music out? We talked about Instagram. Are there other ones for you?
I mean, as far as social media, I think, and I see a lot of different things going online, and everybody's just got a different way about it. And be yourself. That's all you can do, really. I mean, if you're not being yourself, I think people can tell. If you're being yourself and you're really enjoying what you're doing, people will know.
Yeah, you're building a tribe.
Yeah.
I think the mentality used to be, I'm trying to reach the world. I have artists tell me that. They're like, my music is for everybody. It's not.
It's not, no.
Music
And
is
I would
subjective.
rather have 200 real fans
Right.
than, 200,000 fans that I bought.
Right.
You know what I mean? That
Yeah,
aren't
oh,
really
yeah.
engaging in my stuff. They don't
Yeah.
care about my music.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
And engagement. I've heard stories where like let's say a lawn company.
Yeah.
I think is what I heard on that they only had 1,000 followers, but they made an enormous amount of money from these 1,000 followers that followed them. That they were in really engaged with.
Yeah, right.
And they could get their product to, and that's what you're doing. As an artist, the thing with, when new artists come to me, they're always like, I just want to play music. Well, I'm sure everybody would like to do that, but it's a day and age when you have opportunity like you've never had before, and you can get your, Spotify even shows you the regions, geographical regions that you play in now, and so you can look and say, I've never even concentrated on this, area of China or this area of Germany that actually has, my product. Or has they're playing, they're streaming over there. Why am I not concentrating particularly, on this area?
Yeah.
With the things that you can do with video now online, people can see, they can see your concert clips and stuff all over the world. You can focus on these areas where your tribe is. Those are your low-hanging fruit. Let's talk about Charlotte real quick because we have a few minutes left. With Charlotte, what do you do to engage the same fans over and over in this particular region to grow that?
I mean, you just got to go out and play, I guess, you know what I mean? And see people, one-on-one and kind of, I feel like that works sometimes better than social media because those are real tickets that you're selling there.
Do they?
And real engagement.
And you were talking about your email list. Do you have a thing where they can sign up? Do you have a sign-up sheet when you're
Yes.
doing?
Yes.
Very cool. And when when you're seeing the crowd, you're seeing the same faces.
Yeah.
Are you able to talk to them, after the performance or before the performance?
Oh yeah, and if I know,
Okay.
if I recognize it, it's like, hey, thanks so much for coming, and and I love that sense of community here.
Yeah, and you're very engaging, which is really cool. Dude, with a talent like you, if you just continue to learn everything you can about songwriting, to learn everything you can about networking.
I'm always a student.
Yeah, and just being in the studio doing what you're doing because you're so adept at the studio that all it is, and what you're growing. Some people disagree. I've been in this industry a while, so I know how this works. But with the understanding that you have the studio, as you're going through this, and more money comes your way, and you have access to different equipment or different studios and things like that. As you grow, you're going to do some phenomenal things for sure if you stay on this path.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that.
So I'm definitely interested in keeping track of what you're doing. And I want to thank you, for being on the show. And I'm glad that Jess
Thank
brought
you so much
on,
for having me.
'cause,
Yeah,
she,
this is great.
She knew you before you ever got on the show, and you
Yeah.
weren't just plucked out of nowhere and being one of the early guests. But if it hadn't been for Jess, a lot of people in town wouldn't even know that you had existed and talent you had when you came on the show. And now, we had sought you out to get you back in. And I remember when I went to Wendy and Jess and was like, I'd like to have this guy back on the show, after he's been doing stuff for a while and just keep track of what he's doing. There was not any resistance, to that at all. And sometimes it's hard to get an artist back on, but they immediately, were like, get this kid on and keep track of what he's doing. So again, thank you so much for coming, and thank you for bringing Maddie. And thank you for your lyrics and what you're doing. And man, the performance was great. So look very forward to seeing what you're doing. And guys, go to his social media, check out what he's doing. Go see him live. Get on the email list. This is somebody that you definitely want to be watching, because this will be a different conversation within 2 years. So as always, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for supporting rBeatz. Tell your friends about it, and hit subscribe, and tell them to hit subscribe themselves. And until next time, much love. See you next time.
Thank you.